Hello, Sanibonani Babukeli, and welcome to this week's exciting installment of your favorite program, Yilungelo Lakho. It's your right. We're coming to you live khona la Mamba Phambili SABC 1 uMzansi for sure. Mbukeli uyazi lolu hlelo ke siniphathele yonke into ephethe amalungelo enu njengabathengi uhleli nomangcolosi uma zikhali unhlanhlo ungangibiza nango Alisha igama ngithi mbukeli inamba zethu zase studio have changed. So namhlanje ungasifonela ku 011-714-0670 011-714-0670 ila uzosithola khona ke namhlanje mbukeli ngizozibeka lapho ku screen because angifuni ukuthi nixabane nami ukuthi nginiphi inamba ezintsha namhlanje singabe simosha ke isikhathi mbukeli asingene shiqe odabeni leta namhlanje. An undue delay in receiving the initial payments of state pensions is a source of frustration for a number of abantu asebethathe impesheni, including, of course, ama-dependents wabo. Many pensioners fear the risk of falling deep into arrears while beyilindile le mali yempesheni. Paid out also on time and also paid i-processwe ngaleso sikhathi oyidingayo. While Government Employee Pension Fund, GEPF, believes that this need not be the case, and of course, as some delays can, of course, be avoided, a Tsakane family in the East Rand is still waiting to see their father's pension years after eseshonile. I guess it's when I looked at
reference book.
Umlungiseleli Mboni uthi ibali likatata wakhe nongasekhoyo aliqhelekanga. Uthi belusapho basalinde ukuva kuba imali yomhlala phansi yomzali wabo iyakuphuma nini na. Utata wakhe watshona ngo-1979.
Kudala mos utata esebenza kwi-Department of Education. It's years, you understand? Kuma-50s utata bese esebenza e-teacher. Nayo mama, you understand? And then naku utata uyashona. Makashona umama akasakwazi ukufumana imali yendoda yakhe. Yabo? Imali wayifumana umama bi imali salary yakatata yangoMeyi njoba ebhuphe apha ngoMeyi. Banika nje isalary yakatata njoba ebhuphe ngoMeyi. It was the end of the story.
Utakhomntu uyithandabuzayo into yokuba watshona emva kokusebenza iminyaka engumfundisi ntsapho. Wasutywa kukufa inqununu kwesi sikolo. Isimanga igama lakhe aliveli nokuvela ezincwadini.
But ngithi nazi izinto zakatata nazi lento i-salary advice ezibonisayo kuba zinayo yonke ingcukacha zakatata. And then qabaya ku-archives the only information ababuye nayo le ngabo mboni abalapha. And then what was surprising, I was shocked ilent igama lakatata likho. Yamama igama nalikhona ATS Mboni likhona apha but elakatata likho.
Olu sapho lukholwa ukuba kukho unyawo lwemfene apha. Kutheni yena yedwa ngelixa ontanga bakhe bonwabela imali zabo zomhlala phansi babebona besesemlindweni?
Never expected uba sawudibana situation eso. Yabo? Because bonke abanye abantu bazitishari ne-principal imali yabo biphuma nje kakuhle. Azange si-expect ukuthi singarhumshwa ngolu hlobo.
Okamboni uthi bafune isifundo ngesisehlo. Ayinguye yedwa abantu abaninzi badibana neengxaki ngeengxaki xa bebeka phansi engqeshweni. Omnye unobangela ukubeka kwelokulibala imiba iphathelele neemali zomhlala phansi. Umuntu aqala ukuphakama xa sele kusemva kwexesha kube ke ngoko sekungekho namandla okuphuma ungena kwiiofisi zikarhulumente uzama ukulungisa umonakalo. Ungenza ntoni ukuze ungagaxeleki kwingxaki efana okanye iyogqitha eyehlele abakwamboni? Kuvuyisile Mdoda, Yilungelo Lakho.
Kwaze kwanzima siyabonga kakhulu uTavi kuvuyisile mdoda ngaleyo mbiko mbukeli and manje ke mbukeli ake sikhulume kabanzi ke ngokuthi wenza kanjani phela ukuzilungiselela ukuthi izimali zakho zempesheni ziphume zonke ngesikhathi esifanele uma phela sekufika leso sikhathi ukuthi uthathe umhlala phansi. Asamukela ivakashi zethu today we do have Mr. Liwele as well as uBaba Itumeleng Modise, both of them ba representa GEPF. Otherwise kuthiwa let me just ask the gentleman ukuthi basitshela ukuthi imeleni GEPF. Gentlemen, a very good afternoon to you. Bhuti Itumeleng, welcome to the show. Osichazele kokuqala for those abangakazi ukuthi iGEPF imeleni because abanye abacabanga ukuthi eGauteng.
Yeah, sure. Good afternoon, Alicia, and good afternoon to your viewers. Thanks for the opportunity to be here today. The GEPF is the Government Employees Pension Fund. It's an independent pension fund responsible for managing and administering pensions on behalf of all the government employees in South Africa.
Okay. All right, Babu Mac, sawamukela baba studio. Look at that insert. Over 43 years. What do you think could have happened to ifamily ya baba lapha? And how do we rectify it? Can it still be rectified?
Yes, if there's an error, thank you for the opportunity inviting us. If there were errors indeed in what was paid, which they believe is very little, they can be corrected. But having seen the clip just for a short while now, immediately I can see 1975 and so on. I saw Bantu education. I'm not dismissing it, but I don't know if they were paid subsequent to the amalgamation of all the various funds, government funds. You know, remember we had independent states, we had self-governing territories, we had central government, what was called South Africa.
Yes.
So in 1996, when they formed GPF, all of those were put together. Of course, there are exclusions here and there of municipalities. So I'm not sure if this family was paid subsequent to the formation of GPF or prior.
That's the son that we actually saw on Ilokuzana insert. Uti till this day, they've never received any contributions from GEPF. And Ubaba Kube Utisha Nyaguzu, maybe just clarify on that point. Are you saying Uguti before the new Ilokuzana dispensation of democracy in South Africa? Are you saying those could be some of the issues as Vimbuguti Abantabe before 1994, but Solama pension, is that what you're saying, Babu Mek?
No. I'm not saying that.
Okay. Please clarify.
The change in the amalgamation doesn't disadvantage anybody.
Okay.
So I thought they had been paid, but they were not happy with the payment. If they had not been paid, it's fine because all of those were amalgamated and one government employees pension fund in the country was formed, which is what we have today, GPF.
Yes.
Now that we are one country. And what they can do, the family, is to, I heard that they are somewhere in Ekurhuleni.
Yes,
They can go to our nearest office, but I can also say, you know, after the show, we can get their details from you and your producers so that we're willing to even ourselves reach out and if you have contacts and call them and check what is it and check where their father was working. And I see it was education, so you can check with the, I don't know if he worked in Gauteng or they just happened to live here in Gauteng, but he was working in another province.
But we can is that a factor?
No, it's not. I'm just saying
really,
we can check. I'm trying to link that with our nearest office. If it was here in what is today called Gauteng, then our colleagues in the Joburg office or Pretoria office will contact them and will ask them certain documents that you may not have enough time to say all of them here, but things like ID, number of the deceased father, if they have any payslip or anything, had they even attempted to claim and things like that. Various questions, checklists that will go through them, and then we can check and tell them what is wrong. But the other assurance I can give is that despite the unfortunate delays that happened, the money is never lost. It never expires. And nobody else can take it except the people who are supposed to get it, that is the beneficiaries of their deceased father.
But Mac, I mean, in this instance, Ubaba retired from work and then he was waiting for his pension up until he passed away. So whether that money is still sitting at your offices or not, the point is the person that works so hard ukuthi abe ne-pension ashiya abantwana bakhe benotho has actually essentially passed away without having seen leyo mali. That is wrong, Bhuti Tumeleng, on all fronts. Uthini wena?
I fully agree with you, Sis Alicia. And the recourse will be what Budmek has alluded to.
Can you still help them after all this time?
Absolutely.
And what do you think the problem could be when Itumeleng? Because siyabona ama documents apparently lezi zinto eqeda ukuzisho uBudmek, the ID documents, ama lokhuzana, ama pay slips, yonke into oyidingayo to claim, of which we'll go into detail ngayo later on. But what do you think could have gone wrong?
Let me clarify that as the fund or as a pension fund, we are responsible for making sure that our members are paid on time and the correct amount. And the record keeping of salary slips and so forth, which is what we need when we make payment. That is entirely the responsibility of the various employers or departments. So you would recall, Sister Alicia, that we come from an era where, you know, filing of documents was
poor record keeping. Nothing has been digitized. I mean, look at Home Affairs right now.
And that is what has proven to be really a challenge to most of the members, especially with who started working back in the years. So our starting point here will be to really ascertain what the former employer of the member we just saw now, that what is on there. Remember, we also pay with proof that the member was contributing to pension.
Yes.
Saying that the member was working for government, well and good, but we need assurance, we need documentary proof that indeed that member was contributing to the pension fund. So it's very important that we really get hold of the file from the employer side and really ascertain really if that member was contributing to a pension fund. And if that is the case, like my colleague has said, the money is never lost. Once that proof emerges, we will be able to make payment to the member.
But I mean, who then bears the brunt of the full responsibility? Let me just quickly ask you this. Is it the employer or the consumer, the person who's going to get the money? Because you getting my money as it is at the end of the month. I literally don't even see it. It's already taken by you guys. It's taken. I don't know what's all I know is that I have a pension fund with the scheme and so forth. My employer is not going to be sitting there saying, but now you must keep all these slips for 30 years. So now why should we blame the consumer? But maybe answer that after the break. Mbugeli 0117140670. Those are the new magic numbers to call us with La Studio. Siyabonga kwaleli khefu. Sikhuluma ngeimpension ukuthi iziphi inkinga ohlangabezana nazo. Mbukeli ukuthi wena masuthatha umhlala phansi ungakwazi ukuthi ube ne-access kwimali yakho. Ilungelo lakho. Back shortly after this. Yo, guys, ngiyayithanda ukuthi ngikhulume ngama pensions. We're just talking to Kosathu sikhuluma ukuthi seningaba phela you might be able to access a third of i-pension yenu. And sabona ukuthi ngempela this topic niyayithanda emakhaya and i-response siyayibonga kakhulu. My guest today ubaba uMekliwele ovele GEPF no Itumeleng Modise naye bobabili siyasibalethe nje bobabili bazosichazela mbukela ukuthi yini lenza ukuthi uma usuthatha umhlala phansi impesheni ekumele uyihole ngaleso sikhathi uyidinga usuneyidingo. Why do you not have access to your money? All right, ungasifonela in our new numbers 0117140670 0117140670. That is the magic number to dial la estudio. Ungasithumela email ku consumer@sabc.co.za noma usithole ku Facebook as well as on Twitter. All right, but Mike, I mean, I was talking to Uguti, who should then bear the brunt of responsibility between the employer nelokhuzana and the consumer, because mina I'm contributing imali yami ifika kumini sinethiwe. That's what we call it. So whatever happens in the back of the office, those are the things that employers should be able to say. Alicia, when she's about to take retirement, they send all those things to GEPF. Why don't we have the same issues in the private sector?
We have the same issues or processes in the public sector, in our case, Government Employees Pension Fund. We believe the responsibility of all the three parties, being, unfortunately, the pain is with the family and the member, but the responsibility is equally among the three parties, which is the employee, the employer, that's the direct department that hires the person, and then ourselves as the fund, the pension fund. Because you know the difficulty is that with pension, unlike other ordinary daily transactions, you are hired today, and we believe or we think we don't need to engage with this process until the day we leave. That's where the problem is. Because you are hired young, 20, 22, 23, and then you want to check this when you're 60, 65. A whole lot of things happen, you are not updating. But to come back to the point is that we think a member should play a very active role in their affairs. They should have interest. They should update their personal details. For example, one of the scenarios I give is that you are hired at 20, coming from, in my case, from Limpopo, no child, living in someone's room in Alex or Soweto. They say, who you want us to pay when you die? Should you die while you're working?
You can't decide that, Musa Figa put me.
No, you do. In pension, you do. And I say my father or my mother, or my father and my mother. Then you go on, things improve, you change address to a flat, to a townhouse, to a house. You get promotions,
but
and all sorts of things happen.
Access? We had this discussion, a similar one, where employers were basically saying, employees rather were saying, we do not have access to this information, even if we go to HR. HR is very, they keep their cards like close to their chest. They won't tell us who we're contributing with. Some members were not even told which scheme are they contributing under. So muye HR bazogisa left, right and center, but they will still not give you this information. But wait on that point, Putmek. I want to take Mrs. Vivian all the way from Belfast. She's been staying on the line for too long now. Ma'am Vivian, thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for staying on the line.
Yebo ma unjani?
Ngiyaphila ma wami kunjani?
Ngiyaphila. Yeah man, ngifuna ukubuza something. Kuno obaba wami ne oseBushbuck Ridge, uIsmail Ndlovu.
Yes.
So since beka kuteaching, akase athole imali yakhe ye-pension fund. So I don't know ukuthi kwenzakalani. Fanele athathe ziphi inyathelo.
Sis Vivian, ubesebenza phi ubaba?
Sorry?
Ubesebenza phi ubaba? Where was he working?
Bekayi uthisha eBushbuck Ridge.
Oh, ube uthisha eBushbuck Ridge. Uthathe nini umhlala phansi? When did he go on pension?
Ngoba manje una 63 years from last year.
Oh, so from last year, and there's nothing yavela in terms of ukuthi uzocollect kanjani imali yakhe?
Cha, akunalutho mama.
Okay. All right, Sis Vivian, ngicela usilalele lapho kumabonakude. Thank you so much. Now embukeli mangabe you are in this conundrum. We've heard questions when ku Facebook abantu bayasho ukuthi bafethu imali ye pension, it's just ilokhuzana free speech ukuthi kuthiwe sithola mase sathatha umhlala phansi. 0117140670. That number again 0117140670. But Tumaleng, how can we help Sis Vivian? Ubabu retired last year. He was a teacher at Bushbuck Ridge. Still imali ayingenile. Guys, there's been COVID. Abantu are struggling financially. It's not like he can wake up ekuseni ahamba uyodayisa amatamatisi to make imali. Like, when is he going to get imali yakhe?
It pains us as the GEPF to hear such sad stories. That's not what we stand for. That's why we encourage the members to be actively involved throughout, their active membership or throughout their service.
Can they go directly through you instead of the employer? Because I get a feeling there's some sort of I don't know, corruption, if I can put it like in that bracket. But I don't understand why employers are withholding such fundamental information that is going to assist the employees.
Yes.
Can then an employee who thinks or knows ukuthi ipension yabo inan, can they come through to your offices and be like, guys, I want to check what is the current status of ipension yam?
Absolutely. I would really encourage that.
Yeah.
We have all the necessary initiative as the GEPF to actually meet our members halfway with regards to processing of pensions. We have what we call client liaison officers.
Okay.
So if the member can make way to the nearest GEPF office, we will definitely then assign a client liaison officer who deals with that particular department and really just check what the problem could be. Yes, and as I was earlier on saying, that I cannot emphasize more for the members or the employees really to notify their employers at least 6 months before they exit or before their last day of service.
Okay.
So that, all their particulars, they are put in place, and the employer has got the clear instruction to submit the claims at least 3 months before the last day of the employee. That gives us sufficient time to actually peruse the claim, work on the claim, and
require all the documentation that is outstanding.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay.
So that really requires that we really assign a client liaison officer. They can come directly to our office, and we will then work up to speed to investigate what could the problem be and resolve that.
All right, Mbukeli uyezwa ke i-GEPF yasho babukela ukuthi yekani laba emsebenzini abanyisa from pillar to post, hambani straight nyema officeini wabo nifeni batshela ukuthi if usuzo retire basically 6 months before masucabanga ukuretire, then go and check khona uzobasho ukuthi all the documentation, all the things that you need are up to date. 011-714-0670. Those are the magic numbers to call in studio. We're back Namampesheni shortly after this. Hey, Mbukeli, ama-pensions ayaba-frustrata abantu, especially laba abasebenza, sikhuluma nabo-ke namhlanje, laba abasebenza kuhulumeni. Ungasifonela ku-011-714-0670 ukuthi usitshele ukuthi yindaba i-pension yakho ungakayitholi, batheni kuwena if uhamba usuthi uthatha umhlalaphansi noma mhlampe wena uyingane yomuntu ongakawutholi leyo pension. Ungasifonela usibhalele usitshele ukuthi inkinga ithini. Butsenzo ePinetown eThekwini, insizwa yangakithi kunjani baba?
Ngiphilile sisi, ngiyezwa wena?
Ngiyaphila insizwa yami. Singakusiza kanjani namhlanje?
Mina sisi ngiyabingelela lapho kubafowethu baka-GEPF. Umama wayesebenza esibhedlela eMsolweni Hospital.
Okay.
And then my father tried ukuthi ngesikhathi eshonile ukuthi ayoclaima. Wazama for years until he passed on.
Okay.
And then ngaya khona esibhedlela bafike bathi balithola ifayili, angigcwalisa ama-forms, and then bathi angibuye ne-information. Mase ngibuyela khona bathi abasalitholi ifayili. Then I went to GEPF eThekwini, but eThekwini angibuyele esibhedlela ngiyothola ukuthi wayicontribute kuyiphi i-pension fund, because there were many pension funds at that time.
Mina Butsenzo, uma bandlu ushone nini uma uyeke umsebenzi ngoba eseshonile noma ubese uthathile umhlala phansi?
Washone esebenza nje, washonela khona futhi esibhedlela leso ngo-1981.
Oh, okay. So into bese nijahile le since 1981. Ungashola Butsenzo ukuthi
1981 we've been trying, and then saze saya ka-GEPF. Ka-GEPF bathi asiye esibhedlela siyothola ukuthi wayicontributa kiphi i-pension fund, igama le-pension fund. And then bathi esibhedlela basayitholi ifayile, abatholi lutho. And we don't know how can ama-files disappear employee yabo. And then GEPF athi akatholi lutho.
Okay.
But we have the information from incwadi ezayibhalwa esibhedlela ukuthi funds were transferred from old mutual to government employee fund when the hospital was moved from the missionaries to government.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Butsenzo ngizocela wenza nje ushiye i-number zakho with our producers so that singakhona nathi ukuyithatha sinikeze uBhuti Tumeleng noBhuti Mac ukuthi babone ukuthi indaba yakho bangayifakela yini amehlo. Gentlemen, what do you think, Bhuti Mac?
Yeah, it's more or less similar case, and it's a bit difficult when you don't have the full details and also access to our system right now. But as you told him, We'll have to check when did the mother, when did she start to work? And we'll have to talk to him to ask what attempts have they done. So I heard him saying,
They've
the
gone
hospital
to your
says they couldn't
offices,
find
the
the
hospital,
files.
yes.
Because our process is that the employer, and again it goes back to that issue of various schemes at the time.
Yeah.
But that shouldn't be a prohibiting factor. So you find that they've tried, and the hospital said they don't have the file. So for us, we have to check on our side to say what are our records saying. But our process is that normally you go to the employer do the calculations as per the records that they have. They send directly to us, we compare with our records, we confirm, we go on many other steps that we don't have enough time to say here until we pay the person. And if there are contradictions between our records and theirs, we try and reconcile those and so on. And somewhere where the member in the department insists that the GPF records perhaps are incorrect, theirs are correct, that's why we ask for things to submit to us to prove what they are saying. For example, there are issues that some people will have worked for a certain period of years, say from 1980, but they only started to contribute in 1985. Then when they claim, they say from 1980. And although this is not the case with him from what I heard. And then when they come to us, we say our records are say 1985. Then we have to discuss and agree if it is 85 or 80 and then process the claim. But in this case, they say they don't have the files.
But that's easy, Putmek. You can just tell the person, listen, according to our records, you started contributing from this year. Like, I mean, most of us here are freelancers. We don't know if we're going to get permanent contracts at some point. And we're certainly not going to be counting the years that we're not contributing.
Yeah, not everybody knows that. Some people think working means from day one,
contributing.
I'm contributing.
Okay, that's a very important fact.
And also, as I said about the not knowing your fund, it's impossible. It is written on your pay slip that there's a deduction of 20 rand for pension, and they write the name of GPF. In the way that many other things, whether it's union or medical debits, deductions are then indicated. So the members must play active role. They must talk to their employers. The employers have a responsibility to keep records, and we also must keep our records. So if all the three players play their role, we shouldn't be having these problems.
Well, clearly somebody's not playing their role, because suddenly files have disappeared. I mean, these are employees.
Now that is a problem even for us. But we have our records that we know from if his fund, the mom's fund, was transferred to us in 1996, we should be having the records of the late mom.
Okay.
To say when, according to our records, she started to contribute on this date, and this is what we have. And if we agree, we should be able to process.
Okay.
Which comes back to a matter you were mentioning earlier on offline, to say the unclaimed is one of those.
Yes.
Because for as long as you are not paid, we call it you are unclaimed. It is unclaimed. Because it could be rejections, it could be errors. Because sometimes they are sent back not because we deny that you are a member, but because some of the documents are not correct. We want them to be corrected before we pay. And people, unfortunately, at times get tired and just walk away from it.
I would never get tired chasing my money after that. But maybe quickly just speak to, on the backdrop of what Uputmek was saying. Yeah. In case of a person dying at work while they were still contributing, like, how does that then affect or change the process, if in any way at all? So does the person basically still have access, the beneficiaries, will they still have access to that money that was then of the loved one that passed away while they were working? But it's not necessarily going to be the retirement type, which is like you work for 30 years now, this is the total amount. It's probably going to be much smaller, I presume.
Well, at death in service, whatever that the employee or the member leaves behind will be distributed amongst the beneficiaries as they have nominated them. Okay. And in addition to that, there's also a funeral benefit and a spouse pension that is extended to the surviving spouse of the member.
Okay, so what happens in that? Let's say Ubaba passed away or the mother passed away, so the surviving spouse will basically get the pension.
Okay, so the pension accrued at the time of death will be paid to the beneficiaries as nominated.
Okay.
So the spouse pension as well as the funeral benefit are just additional
additions.
benefits.
Okay.
Yes. So what's important here, and what we always tell our members, is to always make sure that they have nominated their beneficiaries.
Okay.
Because that actively tells us who to pay in the unfortunate event where they are no more. The failure to do that, the surviving beneficiaries, they go through a whole lot of hurdles, which is something that can be avoided by just making sure that all the time you update your beneficiaries, you update your personal particulars. If you get married, make sure that the employer knows about it. Make sure that the fund knows.
If you get divorced
yes.
as well. Zonke izinto
Absolutely.
ezenzeka ngempilo yakho.
So all those things, failure to update those are the kind of things that
The main reasons for my
subsequently
rejections,
cause
innit?
the delays. Yes.
Okay, ngiyabonga Bhuti Tumeleng. But Simon in the Northwest, hello.
Hi, ma'am. How are you?
I'm good, thank you, sir. How are you?
I'm good.
I'm good.
I want to check with those guys from GEPF because on 2014 I was employed in the department.
I can't hear you, Simon. Please say that again.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yes, I was saying in 2014 I was employed by the department. Then later around 2017 I was dismissed.
Okay.
And I never claimed any pension fund. Then now I was reinstated 2021
Okay.
through labor. But
Okay,
now
so-
I'm having 2 patient numbers.
Okay.
Then I want to know, because can I claim that other patient number, or what should I do now? Because now I'm having 2 patient numbers,
Simon.
the old one and the current one.
But Simon, let me just get this quickly. So you worked for a certain department between 2014 to 2017, and then you got dismissed. But you never claimed, and then you went on to work where? And you were still contributing to this?
I never worked anywhere until I've been reinstated.
Or until you were reinstated? After how long?
In 2017. No, in 2019.
Oh, okay. So you were only reinstated in 2019. But then when you came back, they've given you, you've got 2 pension numbers, meaning it's the first one and then the one after you were reinstated. Okay. Have you resigned now, But Simon? I'm just curious.
I never resigned. I was dismissed.
Oh, okay. You've been dismissed again now.
Yes.
Okay.
No, not now.
Oh,
That time,
okay.
In 2017, I was dismissed.
Oh, okay. So you're still contributing to e-pension right now. All right, Simon, I get you. Thank you so much. Please watch your television. After the break, we're going to have your answer. Bukeli 011-714-0670. 011-714-0670. That is the magic number to call. Unfortunately, I only have one line working in studio today. So ngasithinta-ke on social media as well as on consumer@sabc.co.za. We're back shortly after this with more news. I'm a pension. Hey, I'm frustrated. Bukeli, we're talking about izinkinga enhlangabezana nazo uma phela senitshela ukuthi nithatha umhlala phansi nina nitshela ukuthi for 30 years you've been working contributing to ischeme ipension fund uthola ukuthi mase kumele ukuthi uyalokhuza uyaretire emsebenzini uhlale iminyaka abanye baze bashone ingakazi ibone leyo mpesheni ungasifonela studio 011-714-0670 011-714-0670 ngihleli lana noBut Mac Liwele as well as uBut Itumeleng Modise, both of them babuya at GEPF. Please note Mbukeli namhlanje we specifically dealing ngama government pension funds. That is why siphethe uBut Mac noBut Itumeleng. But Itumeleng ulokhuzana uBut Simon, how do we help him? Wasebenza kwaba ne gap, got dismissed, meaning at that time, let's just understand this. So during that time that he was dismissed, from that time he was dismissed, are we correct to say he stopped contributing to the scheme, which is why then when he was reinstated, bamupe a new number?
Yes.
But then what happened to the old pension? Where are those funds from the first pension?
So from the first pension, that period will remain there. It will remain unclaimed because precisely as soon as we stop receiving contributions from the employer, the systems will immediately pick up that information. And when he comes back onto the system, we wouldn't know whether it's a reinstatement or it's a new appointment, unless if now the employer clearly communicates through providing documentation that the employee has been now reinstated and they are paying now all the arrears for all the period that he was not there. Then we can correct that by merging the two periods to be continuous.
Okay,
Yes.
so now I'm still not getting the answer. Like, why does he not have access to the first pension? Because now we know that it's redundant because he was dismissed.
Well, the directive will have to come from the employer. If the dismissal is still going ahead, and we should be paying the employee for that period. But if the directive now from the employer is to say, hold on, this case has actually, or this employee has been reinstated, it should never have been a dismissal, meaning that now we have to
Back pay.
they have to back pay and subsequently pay all the pension contributions to the GEPF.
And remove the second pension number.
The second pension number will then be removed, and then the period will be continuous. So it'll just be interesting to learn or to know from the employer side as to what they really want us then to do. But if it's a reinstatement, usually that's what will happen. We will then merge the two periods, and the employee will then continue with just a one pension number, and the period will be continuous.
But Mike, maybe just that in there. I know we spoke about this off air. Uguti, if somebody is suspended, and I think it rides beautifully into this, the information we're getting now. If an employee is suspended without pay, so basically it means Uguti, you are also not receiving ama contributions. I think that's very important, but Mike.
Yes, it means so, and it's, I don't want to say, I almost said it's dangerous, but it's risky, perhaps is a better way.
Yes.
He shouldn't sit. He must go and check if they've paid the arrears, because it means in that period, as it was said, it means we were not receiving. So 20, 30 years later, or even 10, when he wants to exit, whether
He's
it is,
only going to get the remainder from 2017.
Yes. So we're going to say, yes, you worked in 1980 or 2014 to 2030, but 2017 to 19, you didn't contribute. You owe us. We need money from you and your employer to fill that gap. So it is better to check that now, and him and the employer must pay us the arrears, if there are any arrears, because remember, we didn't get all the details, like was he contributing while dismissed, which it should be that they were not, because he wasn't suspended, he was dismissed. So he needs to go and check with them, check with us. If there's a gap, then we'll tell them how much they owe us and they pay, so that, as Itu said, the contribution, and if you will, the account remains one account continuously pension fund for him.
Okay.
And then when he leaves, there are no problems.
Okay. All right, but Simon, uyezwa ke lapho baba ukuthi bathi bacela ukuthi uhambe uyozwa lapho kumqashi wakho ukuthi ngalesi sikhathi uthi you were dismissed, subsequently leading to you being reinstated emsebenzini, bekukhokhwa yini, so that you have a clear view ukuthi kwenzakalani, and then maybe just ask them further ukuthi why do you have these duplicate pension numbers. But of course, GEPF nabo, I'm sure if you walk into their offices, bangak-assigna umuntu who can also do lauma checks for wena. Sis Nomonde, hello.
Hello.
Kunjani sis Nomonde?
Ngiyaphila kanjani sisi?
Ngiyaphila sanda sam. Usifonela kuphi and sicela umbuzo wakho nana?
Okay, I'm calling from Queenstown.
Hello Nana, go ahead.
Okay, my father was working for SABC
Okay.
since 1996. Then he passed away last year.
Okay.
December. Then January on the 13th, we went to GEPF to claim. Then first of all, like, they are not nice. Abantu base GEPF, they are so mean, they were so rude to us. Then we submitted, we managed to submit all the documents that they required us to submit.
Okay.
Then we were doing follow-ups, only to find out this month, August, last week of August, I called them, and then they started asking me, when did we do applications and all that, the dates and all that. I was like, no, don't you guys do filing and it's come to go submit? And it seems like we have to start the process from the start again.
Sis Nomonde, bathatha nge-application yantoni nani?
I-application ye-beneficiaries angithatha amusolekede nushele imali andisinominatile sonke ne.
Okay.
Yes, and also sa-submit amaphepha sa-claima.
Okay.
Yeah. So xa si-follow up, senze follow up, sabona uba unyaka uyaphela mos. Akho ne-communication. Then we started asking ubana, okay, since sifake application status to EP, we wanted to know.
And then a final resolution nana benze ntoni ngoku so that we can help you.
They asked me if you claim any date your claim, and then I told them it was on the 13th of January 2022.
Yeah.
And then the lady was like, I'm going to get back to you. And since then,
They
so I
haven't
don't know
responded.
whether we should start the process again to apply or what. I don't know.
Okay. Sis Nomonde, please leave your numbers with my producers so that we can also expedite a case yakho. Mbukeli, let's take our final ad break. We're back shortly after this. Ngaindawo. It's our final segment, and I haven't even begun to scratch the surface ngama issues amayelana nale show. We're talking about ama pensions, ukuthi yini yenza ukuthi abantu sebeqedile ukuretire or abanye bashona emsebenzini imndeni yabo ingayitholi lezo imali. Uthothi umuntu uhlala elwa ne GEPF aze ayoshona imali engayitholanga. I think ama lines wethu are still open. 0117140670. Usisi Nomonde ubani ofuna ukumphendula? But Mac,
I think...
Back
okay, Mac, put Mac.
I think quickly, all I can say is that one is to apologize that she feels they were disrespected by our officials. It's not what we stand for. But back to her case, I'm happy that you requested for her details. We can quickly check what it is. I agree with her. If they came in, we shouldn't be asking when did they apply. We should have those records. So we can look into that and get full details with enough time, not on television. And we can try and expedite her case, make sure that they are paid. And that's all I can say of her in the interest of time.
All right. And let's talk about the fact that Seni nayo ngishi Ombudsman, because it seems like angwazi ukuresolve ama issues. Tell us more about the Ombudsman. Usebenza nani? How does the process yakhe work?
Oh, yeah. So we realized, or the Board of Trustees realized, that there could be, or there are many times some cases where they are not resolved fully, and the members or beneficiaries need some sort of a recourse. So the Government Employees Pension Ombudsman was actually started to deal with such complaints and such cases where members feel that, you know what, the law was not applied to the T, and there needs to be some recourse. That's where now we have the Government Employees Pension Ombudsman, available at no cost, of course.
Oh, wow. And the process, yeah, but maybe we should have him. I hope my team is taking note. Maybe we should have Ilokuzani GEPF Ombudsman, because I'd like to know more about what goes on into the processes and so forth. But thank you for announcing. Office like Braid.
In order to lodge a complaint, members can actually log on to the GEPO website, the Government Employees Pension Ombudsman website, and there is a link there for lodging the complaint. So they don't really need to go there in person, and once they have lodged a complaint, then there will be a follow-up requiring, you know, the supporting documents to whatever the case that the complainant is making.
Oh, some progress, some good news. Namhlanje babukela ukhona uombud othi odila nalama cases. Very quickly, Putmak, pension is not taxed by, or it's not taxed while emsebenzini beyithatha up until sekumele uresign, and then SARS wants to put izandla zabo lapha kwimali yakho. How does that happen? Because I get taxed already on my salary. Very quickly, Putmak.
Yes, well, for us, preferably until you retire, not to resign.
Okay. Oh, yes, retire.
To retire of us. Yes, when they debit monthly, at least with us, and I think with most funds, is that the money that your employer contributes and what you contribute is not taxed when it's sent to GPF.
Okay.
It's only taxed when you exit. It could be through death, unfortunately, or when you resign, and preferably when you retire. Then it's taxed. We hear often people saying, why am I being taxed twice? And they are not taxed. You can't be taxed twice on the same thing. They are not taxed. And we think it's a good thing that it's not taxed as you contribute monthly. So that's the reason, really, without misrepresenting or representing
Well,
SARS.
thank you for
but it wasn't
clarifying that,
taxed.
Putmek, because people were sitting here thinking, I'm already paying e-tax, and then when I get my pension, it still gets taxed. So maybe SARS now, we also maybe need to have you, then Nina, decide how much of ilokhuzana imali yomuntu are you going to take? Because I'm sure, but Itumeleng, there's been disputes where you guys have given out a lump sum of imali to the recipient or the beneficiary, but they're disputing it because SARS took a huge chunk of that money.
No, absolutely. And remember that because of the Income Tax Act, for every benefit that we pay, we have to request a directive from SARS. That's when now we get indication as to how much to tax. And remember that the tax is applied on a sliding scale based on obviously how much the applicant is getting. But what's most important there as well is for employees or members to always make sure that their affairs up to date with the receiver or with SARS. Because if they are not, if the directive is declined, unfortunately, we cannot extend the payment.
Is it possible to be working, contributing to pension, but you're not being taxed and submitting your tax returns? Or is it because you're not submitting the tax returns? Is that the issue?
That is the issue. I was just dealing with another instance where an employee or a member last submitted the returns in 2013, and unfortunately the directive was declined. And so those are some of the issues that we have. And that means that that money will have to be packed, will have to be paid in a suspense account until everything is resolved.
Yo, gentlemen, thank you so much for joining us. You were very insightful. Putmek Liwele from GEPF alongside Tumeleng Modise, both of them from GEPF. What are some of these inherent issues ukuthi sizukuthi abantu baze bashone nezingane nezizukulu zabo baze bashone bengakaze bayibone imali yepension kodwa kuthiwa nansi ihleli sinencwadi engaka ethi unclaimed benefits. So guys, thank you so much for your contributions. Remember, if nisadinga more information, you can go to our ilokhuzana Facebook page yet, you can go to our socials, as well as nisibhalele if you need to any aspect of this conversation ukuthi sinichazele kabanzi singanichazela yona. Umajali unithanda nonke emakhaya bantu bakithi, hey, start checking up on those pensions kuse early. Bye bye.